All right, here is content statement 8. This is about the rise of corporations, heavy industry, mechanized farming, and technological innovations, and how those things transformed the American economy from an agrarian to an increasingly industrial society. Mr. Beavers. Mr. Beavers, is this going to be boring? I don't like boring stuff. Yes, Craig, it's going to be boring. You're just going to have to bear with me here. By the way, that's Craig. He is um, one of my favorite students, so he might make an appearance here or there. Um, I don't see what's boring about industrialization, though, because this was a crazy time. Look at what all happened. Industrialization in the United States in the 19th and early 20th centuries, late 19th and early 20th centuries, stop. Do you know what that means? Late 1800s, early 1900s, was characterized by the rise of corporations and heavy industry, which transformed the American economy. Consequences of this transformation included a shift from a predominance of agricultural workers to a predominance of factory workers. What this means is, because of industrialization, because of the Industrial Revolution, which you might remember from last year, started in Europe, specifically England, spread to the United States. Because of industrialization in the United States, there's a shift from there being a predominance or most of the people working in agriculture, from that to a predominance of people working in factories. That's one shift that you need to know for the end of course exam. A shift from rural living to urban living, a shift from rural countryside to urban city. I'm sure you know that already, but just make sure. With more people living in crowded and unsanitary conditions, we'll look at how crowded and unsanitary some of these neighborhoods in urban areas got. Right? This is just a preview, though. New technologies made production more efficient as machines replaced human labor. This might be the most, right here, this might be the most basic definition of industrial revolution that you can get. Machines now doing labor instead of humans doing labor by hand. No more manual labor, not as much. Machines doing the labor. Instead of you sewing, that's me sewing, machines would do it for you. Or spinning cloth, or something like that. Let's get off this. There we go. Okay. Increased agricultural production due to mechanized farming. Industry affected agriculture too. You might still be working in agriculture in 1880, but you're probably using mechanization. A reaper, a machine. A thresher, a machine. By 1930, you're probably using a tractor, a machine. So it doesn't just affect urban life, it also affects life in the countryside. We can make more food because of industrialization, and the development of mechanized assembly lines and mass production led to the transition from skilled labor to unskilled labor. Skilled labor, people used to be able to have lots and lots of training to be a carpenter, to be a stonemason, people building stuff with stone, right? Now, because factories have assembly lines, you do one job, you do it over and over and over again all day, turning a bolt, tightening a bolt, and then the machine goes on. It takes the part down the line, and a new part comes, and you turn the bolt, and you do that all day. Skilled laborers get more money because it requires skill and education and training. Unskilled laborers, you just plug and chug. You don't have to have much training. What I want you to understand is Craig, wake up. What? What? Oh, sorry, Mr. Beavers. This is just so boring. Sorry, Craig. Can't make everybody happy. For heaven's sake. I think it's just fine. What was that? I thought I heard something. I think it's just fine. You're doing a great job, Mr. Beavers. Doing a great job. Well, thank you, Dark Knight. Thank you, Batman Fist Bump. That's why he's my favorite superhero. Batman has my back. He's also a very flawed character, which helps him be relatable. Anyway, thank you for sticking up for me, Batman. Craig, you just go back to sleep. Okay, what all this is doing right here is talking about the social changes. Social changes means the effects on people, right? People, how people work. The Industrial Revolution changed that from people working in farms to factories, where they live, how they're doing work, machines doing the work for them, increasing the production that will increase population because there's more food, right? The fact that we're becoming less skilled. These things down here are really talking about the technological advances that we made. So social changes here technological changes here because of industrialization. We get lots of news. We got all sorts of inventors. Alexander Graham Bell making the telephone. Thomas Edison making the phonograph, sound recording device. The incandescent light bulb. Incandescent means it's bright. It gives off light because it's been heated. And by the 1920s, we're getting washing machines. By the early 1900s, the Wright brothers invent the airplane. We get automobiles picking up by the 1920s. We get skyscrapers starting because of steel being a stronger metal than iron. We can build taller buildings because of that. Even in the 1870s. This is how, in a nutshell, how industrialization changed American life. Just a small fraction of it. Now, you might be looking at this and might be asking yourself, what is this thing? This is a content statement. This is a cheat sheet. This is what the state of Ohio tells you is going to be on the end of course exam. Like, here it is right here. Right? Technically, if you just read these things, you should be able to pass the end of course exam. Right? The content statement, here's the big picture up here. We have more corporations. We have heavy industry, meaning like we're not just making clothing anymore. We're digging stuff out of the ground like oil and coal and iron. We're transforming farming into machine-powered farming. We're having all these inventions, and it transforms us from an agrarian or agricultural to much more urban-centered, industrial-centered as a society. These are the details, the content elaborations that they want you to know. And then down here, what should you be able to do with this? They say you should be able to analyze how the rise of corporations, heavy industry, mechanized farming, and technological innovations transformed the American economy from an agricultural to an increasingly industrial economy. And if you just tell them these things, then you've done that. I want to thank Craig for sleeping through this and not bothering me. You're welcome, Mr. Beavers. Oh, sorry, that's not Craig's voice. You're welcome, Mr. Beavers. And I want to thank Batman for always having my back and helping me fight crime at night. You're welcome. Kids, don't do drugs.